Sundays with Bruce? Oh, Bruce and we go out to dinner about 3 or 4 times a week. Yeah, well, hey, we both like tater tots with nacho cheese, right? Well, we have a punch card there. We're such good customers. It's like, yeah. All right, guys. Well, happy holidays. Good to have everybody back. Great. It was awesome. It was good to hang out, kind of catch our breath. Obviously, it's been a eventful, couple months, so it was good just to kind of catch our breath and reset and spend some time with family and get your mind wrapped around, and getting excited to go to the Big 12. And actually, we're doing it.
Do you get a sense of excitement from the guys as they come back to get ready for this, what's ahead of them?
I think so. I think our guys came back in good spirits. I think this is my 26th year, coaching at this level. And, that first practice after Christmas break's never pretty, but once you kind of get through that, I think the guys are excited. They're excited about the opportunity that lays ahead. They're excited to have a fresh start.
Do you feel like the non-conference schedule showed you everything you needed to about this team?
Well, yeah, obviously we saw a lot. We saw a lot, and you saw some tough times, and you saw some good times. But I think so. I feel like it. But obviously, we know we're stepping into, we're a deal where it's going to be 20 tough games in a row, and I just know this: like there's no hesitation. We've been talking about this for a long time, and it's here. It's a little bit like Christmas Eve. When you're a little kid growing up, you're excited, and when we're excited, everybody, you're looking forward to something so long. You're right there. So it's Big 12 Eve for us, and we're fired up.
This is a question from one of our callers. When you put this roster together, did you have the mindset of the Big 12 or Arizona?
Both. Both, to be honest with you. But, I think if you looked at our past couple teams, I think we were built to play in any conference. And we're going to, recruiting and roster management's never easy. And, there's always, a lot of dominoes that happen. And to end up, that if you kind of reverse engineered and retold the story, you can kind of figure out how you ended up in certain spots, with a roster. And, I feel good. But, we always want to have a team that's physically capable of competing with anybody. And, hopefully a team that has enough depth to, whether it's absorb an injury or absorb foul trouble. And, and when obviously we love size, we love physicality, we like good athletes. So to me, that's high-level college basketball. And so we're going to, first and foremost, build a roster looking for some of those components. But, we understand that just the physical nature and then the defensive, kind of prowess of this conference, you have to be able to compete, and you have to be great defensively, and you're going to have to be able to compete physically. So, we tried to address those things when we built the roster.
Obviously, they're missing Frankie Collins. So what do they look like differently without him on the floor?
Well, they're TCU and Jamie Dixon, it's a program. It's not about a player. And, he's had so much success over a long career. And Jamie's one of the class acts in our business. And so, missing one player, I'm sure it sets him back. And obviously we know Frankie Collins is a good player. We've played against him every year I've been here. But Jamie, there's no tricks up his sleeve, but what it is just rock solid. They're a great defensive team. They got this big guy, number 8, and his ball screen defense is about as good as you're going to see. And his ability to get his hands on balls from, the way he guards ball screens and the deflections he gets from the 5 position, it's really impressive, and it really caught my attention. So, and then they're so sound. They do a great job of protecting the paint, and you beat somebody, there's another defender waiting for you. And, they're a team that he basically had to rebuild it from almost scratch. So it's just impressive to see how good defensively they are so early, in kind of their tenure with him. I'm sure they're a little bit like us. They feel like they're finding their way a little bit, have a lot of new pieces, but I think that they probably feel like they're their best days ahead, and they've been building to play in the conference just like we have. So, you got 2 teams that are going to be 0-0 that are looking to get off to a good start on a 20-game gauntlet.
Obviously, Conrad had a really good game last time out. What's the next step in his development to where he can be a guy that can be on the court for 20 minutes a night?
Well, I don't know about 20 minutes or, I'm not going to, what that would look like. But I think the next step is just him continuing to be consistently productive in the short stints that he gets. And, it's going to be my job to hopefully give him those opportunities. And, obviously the better job he does with those opportunities, the more he'll earn. But, Conrad's somebody that I have confidence in. And he, like a lot of these guys, he's a younger player who's kind of finding his way. And, certainly he has some things to overcome on the court physically. But, I think when you think about his IQ and his heart, they're impressive. And I definitely want, IQ and heart to be in the DNA in our program. So, I'm hopeful to find him more and more opportunities.
Is there any update on Mo?
He's not going to be available. No definitive update. I think they're still trying to figure out, what the next steps are. But he's not going to be playing.
Is surgery a possibility?
I think a lot of things are on the table with that. I think that's what J Rock and the medical crew and his family and him Krivas are working through.
For the first half of the season, do you know who your leader is?
Yeah, we're still working on that. I think we have guys stepping up in that position. I think Caleb's, certainly trying to grow. I think JB, in his own way, he's a little bit more quiet, but I think he definitely has a voice with the guys. And then now I'm hopeful, as we get into conference play, some of our, veteran transfers can kind of step up in that role. But, as being, saying we have a definitive leader, we're probably not there yet. And last year, we had some guys that at this time, or even on day one, I could say, yeah, Pella, Keshad, Umar in his own way kind of were able to lead the team.
Could that be the case where you have a few, or is a leader necessary?
Yeah, I mean, for sure, leadership's huge, but leadership can come in a variety of ways. And, what leaders do is they can pull people together in tough times. They can help hold people accountable to a standard. And, whether that's effort or execution. And it's great when it can come from a voice within the team as opposed to just coming from the coaches, and so when you can have, your coaching and your coaching staff align with the leadership of your team, I mean, I think you're gonna find a group that's really in sync. And we're fighting for that. I don't think there's anybody on either side working against each other. And I think we just need to go out now, and I think the team has a good vibe around it right now. But now you got to go out and game day, and you got to build some game confidence, and that's what I'm hoping our next step is.
Did you ever find, like, after a really successful non-conference season, either here or Gonzaga, you came back after break and guys were maybe a little complacent? And is that maybe what you're talking about with some of is it sort of the opposite?
Well, I don't think we have any complacence, and we definitely don't have any reason to be complacent right now. Yeah, I mean, listen, to me, going back home for Christmas has always been so important just because it gives guys a breath. It forces a couple days off. It forces guys to kind of break the routine we've been doing for months. And it allows you to kind of refresh and reset a little bit. So, I don't know if I've ever, been around teams that have had a lot of complacency, because they've had success or head down because they've had failure. I think you always look at it as like, hey, it's a fresh start. We kind of, you break your season up into little segments, and, the Christmas break's a natural pause. So now let's get back to it.
Is there anything about TCU's defense that you've faced so far this year?
I mean, TCU's, they're not doing anything, that other teams aren't doing. They're executing it very well. They're doing a great job of protecting the paint. They always have, paint help. And like, I think the most unique thing about them defensively is just how good and how impactful their center is in his ball screen coverages. To me, that's what makes them really unique.
At the defensive end a few times, Tommy, in that last game, he seemed to lose his man on occasion. What's the technique to make sure that he doesn't help too much and still?
I mean, I would have to see the exact scenarios you're talking about to speak to them. But listen, Caleb's somebody who I mean, maybe people have questioned his defense a little bit, and maybe early some of this year it wasn't where we would like it to be, but I think he's turning the corner there. I really do. I mean, I'm seeing less and less mistakes, and here's the deal: mistakes are going to happen. I mean, it's a game of mistakes, and limiting the mistakes and then responding to them ultimately probably determines a lot of the outcome of the game. So, if Caleb makes a mistake here and there, it doesn't mean he's playing bad defense, but, if you have a reputation for somebody who's not a great defender and you make a mistake, you're getting better, but you make one mistake, sometimes people hang on to that. And so, listen, I see a guy that's really giving effort there and trying, and I'm going to stay on him and hold him accountable for it. But right now, the trend that I'm seeing is he's doing a better job holding himself accountable. And to me, that's the most important thing.
I've asked you about transition before a couple times. Is it more what they're doing to you, or what maybe what you're not able to do? Because it seems like they're dropping back and making sure that you don't get a lot of that transition.
Yeah, listen, I don't know. The last two teams we've played have pressed us a lot. UCLA pressed us a lot. So, I think that when it comes to transition offense, I think asserting your will is the most important thing, and testing their transition defense consistently over 40 minutes, like over and over and over again, and then being able to pick and choose your advantages and your opportunities is the most important thing. But I think our running game can continue to get better. I'm hopeful, that we're definitely not going to try to pull it back, but I think the thing that we have to do is just have a little bit more consistent effort, of trying to assert our will in transition, and then if it's there, take advantage of it. If it's not, just get in our half-court offense, and that's nothing that we haven't been trying to do. And maybe some teams are trying to get more guys back on defense here and there, but all in all, I haven't necessarily, felt. Hey, you could talk about playing UCLA. UCLA's what happened in our game has happened in every one of their games. They're doing a great job defensively, and they're slowing the game down and shortening the possessions, and they've been really good in close games. That's it. So I wouldn't necessarily say, but that's who they are. So. We'll see how tomorrow's game's going. TCU, defensively, is one of the better defensive teams in the country. But transition offense, they're also one of the better transition offensive teams in the country. So, I'll be interested to see how the game comes out and how the flow feels.
When they started the defensive end, he had the play where he had the block. He defended the perimeter, then he got the corner, then he came back to get the block. Can he be that type of all-around defensive guy?
He needs to be, and he can be for sure. And Henry, has a lot of versatility and size, and he has solid mobility. He just needs to really tap into to give maximum effort for longer stretches, and sometimes when you have a guy that. His physical stature, it takes him a while to learn that, because they kind of, when you grow to be that big, obviously there's some awkward moments in your development and coordination and physical strength, and those things kind of have to align over time to give you, to be able to take advantage of your physical, gifts. And so, we're fighting for that right now with Henry to help him continue to, give more effort in certain areas on defense. And, I was on him today about it. And I think it's coming, and I think it'll come with a little bit more of some just experience and a little bit more of physical maturity.
Take away from getting to meet Snoop yesterday.
Great guy. He's a one of one. It was really cool. Obviously I grew up on that music, and so yeah. It was really cool that he came to Tucson. Obviously we Tucsonans that live here love this place, and it's great to be able to share it with others and kind of put it on the platform, and that's really cool. I didn't really get to see much of the bowl game, but I heard sounds like there was a great turnout, and anytime we can show Tucson off, especially in the winter, I think that's a great thing because this is a special place.
You mentioned their fast break. They had, or their transition offense. What do you see there? Because they were leading, I think, the country the last couple of years, a little bit off.
Yeah, it was interesting. We played them 4 years ago now in the NCAA tournament, a little bit, and then so obviously Jamie made a concerted effort to run more, and I just remember flipping on the TV because we didn't really play them the last couple of years, and just being impressed with the effort they gave running the floor. You see there was a plan how they ran the floor, how wide they were when they ran the floor. So obviously he's coached it really well and kind of made it a core piece of what they're doing on offense.
Speaking of that, there's obviously nobody left who played from that game, but that was. Seemed like probably at that time was your first year. What do you remember about that game?
Remember it was a great game, and I remember that the game came down to a few offensive rebounds, I think kind of on free throws. I remember their big guy that's transferred to a few places now that was at Colorado last year, played he had a career game. I remember Ben Matherin was awesome. I remember Terry hit a huge three in the corner. You know, I remember Kerr gave a great effort trying to come back and play when I don't think people realize he probably had no business trying to play with that sprained ankle that he sprained in the Pac-12 tournament. So, you know, and I remember Christian Coloco played great. And I just remember it was a great game. And came down to a couple big plays down the stretch. Luckily, we were on the right side of it, and it's definitely an exciting time.
So, you know, obviously you're focused on them, but I'm just curious, like when you flip on the TV or anything you've seen or heard about other Big 12 teams, you know, what's your thoughts compared to maybe in October? Anything look different? Or?
I mean, I have watched some of the teams, and you know, you look at them and you're like, man, they're really good. Like, how are we going to score on them? I mean, that's right where your mind goes to some of these teams, and so now, hey, listen, you know, the prognosticating, all that stuff's done. It's time. Let's do this. We're excited. We're not going into this thing, you know, covering up or half-hearted. We're all in. We're fired up to be in the Big 12. It's here. We've been talking about this conference stuff for way too long. Let's play the games.
All right. Thanks,
Thanks,
Coach.
guys.
All right, that's it.
Good. All right. Questions for Jaden?
Jaden, how was your break? Did you go home or what'd you do?
Yeah, I went back to North Carolina a couple of days. You know, good time with family. Good Christmas. So, yep.
Did you do any basketball stuff or just?
A little bit, but you know, try to stay off my feet for a little bit. You know, knowing going into conference play is gonna be tough. So, but still trying to tighten up my skills. So.
Do you have coaches or, people that you get with to say, hey, what are you seeing, to get feedback at all, any type of feedback when you go back into those home situations?
I have some trainers I've been training with since I was, middle school and stuff like that. They watch the game, but, they kind of, work on things that I, been doing and try to implement into the game. So.
Big 12, are you guys ready for it?
Yeah, we're excited. Going in, probably one of the best conferences, known for basketball. So, we're excited going into this, and we're ready to compete.
Do you know how you felt when you first heard the news?
Just excited. As a basketball player, that's one of the things. You want to play the best of the best, and going into the Big 12, we're definitely getting that for 20+ games. So yeah.
What do you think has been the thing that you've learned the most about this team during the non-conference?
It's not going to be easy for us, with different, injuries and different lineups. So, we got to adjust and, find ways, to win games, whether that's on the defensive end, getting stops, if a shot's not falling. So, we got to really work and for full 40 minutes, to get wins.
Is there something to, knowing that it hasn't come easy that makes it adds motivation?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, from the players to the staff, managers, we all want to win, for us, but not only for us, for Tucson, for the fans and everybody. So, knowing that it's not coming easy, we're excited, we're sticking together, and, we're battle tested now. So going into these tough games, and, it's not going to be 20-point wins. It's going to be, dog fights going down to the last second. So, we're kind of prepared for those.
Could you describe just how the dynamic of this team has changed with Mo being out, Henry getting more minutes, Deli in the starting lineup now, how that's kind of changed the dynamic over the last 3-4 games?
Definitely, Mo going out, that's a big piece for us. But, Henry's done a great job. Tobe, Deli, like you say, next man up mentality. And I feel like, we're starting to find that now and, realizing that we don't have Mo, so different scenarios we could play with Henry at the 5 or Tobe at the 5. So, we're just, working on those things right now.
So, Jake, when you signed, of course, or when you came to transfer here, you were thinking they were still in the Pac-12, and then I think it was early, about the time you went to Israel in August that year, you found out the Big 12. How did that hit you specifically, or when? Do you remember when it was? You mentioned you were excited about it, but when did that hit you? Or was it one of those things where you knew you were going to play a lot of high-level games anyway? Yeah, no matter the conference, I feel like, as a competitor, you want to compete, every night. And when I heard the news, I was excited, going into the Big 12. Growing up, I watched a lot of those teams and, getting to play against those guys and compete with those guys night in and night out, just excited. Where were you? Do you remember?
Yeah, I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember.
I asked Tommy about leadership. He said he's still looking. Could you be that guy or one of the guys?
Yeah, for sure. I feel like this team, we got a lot of guys with experience, and I don't feel like we have, that one person that's, very outspoken and vocal. So I feel like for this team, we have a lot of guys that lead in their own ways, and it could be a different day. It can be that that guy's turn for a leadership. So it's not just one certain guy. We can have Trey one day, KJ, C Love, myself, just anybody.
Do you feel more along those lines? Do you feel more, I don't know, responsibility, or just because you have been around and a lot of guys who were leaders last year are gone now?
Yeah, definitely. Just just speaking up when needed. When I see something, I definitely put my teammates to the side and tell them something I see, and with the experience I had within college basketball. So definitely trying to be more vocal on that piece.
What do you like about what Conrad's been able to add when he's been in there?
Yeah, Conrad's a special guard. Has played overseas is some of the best basketball, and he has great IQ, and he's fast and he can pass. Probably one of the best passers we got on the team. So I definitely I look up to him and his passing. So when he comes in, it changes the tempo, and he gets the ball moving on offense. So
when you go up against him in practice, what would you say maybe is the next piece he needs to add to his game?
I mean, I don't think it's anything he needs to add. Just keep shooting that 3 ball when it's open, but just getting gritty on the defensive end. He's everybody he's not the tallest, but I feel like he can really get into the ball and get steals. They're gonna try to find him on the mismatches, but our defense is predicated on helping him. So I feel like he should be good.
What do you think's added to your uptick in assists these last few games? I think you've got 6 the last 2 games out.
Just playing within the system. Me and Coach Lloyd and the other coaches been talking about that, and not just trying to go out there and hunt them. Just play within the game, and they'll come. That's within our offense. Point to post, high lows and stuff like that. Just finding my shooters, C Love, Deli, KJ, Trey, just going out there and playing the right way and not trying to force it.
Through the years, Arizona basketball has lived off the transition points and getting to run and obviously move. You've done that last year. Has it been frustrating at all this year where you haven't been able to do it all the time or a lot of the time? And what can happen if that's the case?
Yeah, it's definitely been down, our transition. But I feel like in order to do that, you got to get stops first. And, we've been talking about transition and, how we play is, point to post, high low. And, with Mo being out, it's kind of a little difficult. But, Tobe, we've been working on that. And I feel like within Big 12 play, we'll kind of see our transition build back up.
You're talking about, going into Big 12, but obviously you guys probably didn't have the non-conference you were hoping. Does that make it different too, or add an urgency or anything? Or kind of what's the vibe like now?
Yeah, we didn't have the start. Everybody knows we didn't have the start that we wanted, coming in the beginning of the year. But it definitely adds a sense of urgency for our team. But, we're excited to go into Big 12, and, every night is going to be a battle. So going in there, and we want to win the Big 12. So we want to come in, and we're excited.
You mentioned North Carolina. You went back to North Carolina, but you're from upstate New York, right?
Yeah.
Or you have family in North Carolina now?
Yeah, actually, I live in North Carolina now. Yeah.
With the, just curious then, with the trip you have coming up, Cincinnati, West Virginia, any of them going out? It's sort of close by, or?
Oh yeah, probably have some family, but just excited for them to come out and support not only me but the team.
You guys get to meet Snoop at all?
Excuse me.
You guys get to meet Snoop Dogg?
No, we didn't. We had practice same time they had the game, so we were just getting ready for TCU.
All right.
Yes, sir. Thank you.